Hello guys, we are back with another What If Jujutsu Kaisen What If, or just a Jujutsu Kaisen What If, sorry. So, I made part 3 again, and then again, and now this is my third time making it. I'm honestly not liking it's so hard to see what happens after, like to think what happens after. Am I gonna have Yuji fighting Jogo? Or am I just going to have Sukuna deal with Jogo and Maharaga, and then we could just go on to a time to where, Yuji beats Mahito and then goes on to beat Kenjaku. That's the 2 things or 4 things that I really need to understand. But anyways, let's just start with this what if. So, we start where Akira Nida, right? Yeah. So, Akira Nida is going to be investigating with Yuji, Nobara, and Megumi. So, yeah, as they make it to some school, because they were talking about some bridge, so they were investigating about people saying, oh, the security door was wide open, and 3 people said that before they died. Right. So, they're investigating that. So, they might think it's a curse. And yes, that's true. So, anyways, I'm just going to say some names. Eso and Keijutsu. Keijutsu is the green curse, death wound painting. Eso is the black curse. Dark skin, my bad. Because he looks like he has the human appearance, but he has a face on his back. So yeah, Eso is the human type of death wound painting, I mean, they're both half curse, half human. So yeah. But anyways, let's just get on. So we continue this where they investigate the school, actually asking if there's like any unnatural phenomena going on. As this is when the principal shows up saying that students from other schools can't be here. But this is when Akira Nida, or just Akira, would give him a card, or just show him a card saying that they are the investigators for the thing that's going on. As he says, oh, so you guys are the investigators. And is that Megumi? Now, as he says this, Megumi would try and hide himself. But this is when, Akira would be like, you're familiar with Megumi? As Megumi would say, he went to the school before. As anyways, we're just going to have a time to where they are now, talking and everything, just going around school. They leave. So yeah, they leave, and a couple of hours later, they end up near a store. As the people that they were talking to before show up, at least one of them with his sister, as he says she knows something about it, as she says that she's been hearing weird things, seeing weird things, and she's also saying that the security door, it's always open, and she's saying that she can see things that other people can't. As this is when Akira Nida would just try and calm down the situation, kind of saying that nothing's wrong, but they'll be dealing with it. As anyways, so we cut to a time to where Megumi, Yuji, and Nobara are in a cavern right now, or a cave, as they're fighting with Eso and Keijutsu. So, yeah, Yuji is fighting with Keijutsu, the green curse, as Yuji would then dodge one of his attacks, which I'm actually confused what his attack is, but I think it's acid spit or something. So yeah, his curse technique is it's to liquefy himself, and then it just turns into red, some red stuff, and then he spits that at people, and it just shocks them. I guess it stops them from moving. So I'll just say it's toxic, very toxic. So yeah, as anyways, Yuji would dodge it and then grab onto the curse, body slamming it, or he would grab onto Keijutsu, body slam him. So when Keijutsu would punch him back, or just hit him back with something, and then throw an acid spit, as Yuji would dodge, but his hand would get caught, as Yuji would actually freeze for a second, and then haki would form. As this is when Yuji would punch Keijutsu, as Keijutsu would get sent flying as he crashes into one of the pillars that are in the cave. So when Yuji appears right above him, as he does a flying kick and hits a black flash, killing Keijutsu. Now, Keijutsu is dead. Now we go to a time to where Nobara Kugisaki and Megumi Fushiguro are having trouble, as they're fighting the black guy. Okay, hold on, that sounds crazy. They're fighting Eso. Okay, I forgot his name for a second. But they're fighting Esso as when Yuji would show up. As Yuji says, hey, that curse, or whatever that was, it didn't disappear. Which means that it wasn't a curse at all. As Megumi would say, yeah, because these are the death wound paintings. Didn't you know? Around 6 cursed objects were stolen from Jujutsu High during the time of the exchange event. As Yuji hearing this is like, are you for real? So you're telling me these are the death wound paintings? I just killed one of them? As you know, Yuji wouldn't know what to feel about that because apparently the person he killed was human. Or half human, half cursed, but still. Yuji does not like the feeling. Like that feeling. So yeah. But anyways, we just go on to where they start fighting with Esso. As Esso, I actually forgot his technique, but I know he's pretty fast. But his technique, I think it's about like rot or something. Alright, so I was correct. It was about rot, and it's just his blood is venom, technically, or just poison. Venom is if... Okay, so poison is if you eat something and you die. Venom is if something tries to eat you and you die. Alright. Let's get on to this. So, anyways, he would form like a blood thing that would like burst everywhere, as Yuji would get hit by it, along with Nobara, but Megumi would have been safe, you know, he was in the shadow. As this happens, this guy would start explaining his technique, saying, you know, that they're gonna decompose in a while, and that since he's explaining his technique, it's gonna work even faster. As the pain is unbearable for Nobara, but Yuji just looks at him as he's like walking him down, like there's white lightning everywhere. He's just looking at him, as he would then turn his fist into haki, and would actually, you know, predicting Esso's movements as they're fighting. Yuji would then hit him with a combo, kicking him, so he like knee kicks him, as this would like have him a little bit stunned, as he would then punch him 4 times in the stomach and chest area, as he gets sent flying, crashing into the side of the highway. As some like rocks would start to slam down, Yuji would then grab one of these rocks and straight up just throw it at Esso. As Esso's leg would get crushed, he would then use cursed technique, or reverse curse technique, as ROTC? I mean, no, not ROTC, what the heck? RCT. Oh my god. ROTC, are you for real? RCT, reverse curse technique. As this happens, Yuji would then finish the fight off, appearing right in front of Esso. As Esso would then see his death play out, as Yuji hits him with a black flash. Now after this, Esso would be sent flying into the forest, as a gigantic tree would just be there. He hits it, as this tree would collapse, as Esso would have been killed. Now, we're just gonna get on to a time to where we see the point of view of Choso, as he is playing the game of life. I think it was the game of life in the anime. This is when, you know, like, Mahito was complaining, right? Because Choso just broke one of those, like, little car pieces, as this would intrigue Kenjaku, as Kenjaku would say, what's going on? Now, as Kenjaku says this, Choso would just say, at this moment, I felt both of my brothers die. Now, if you guys are wondering, huh? Well, Choso he's a cursed womb, so he can feel like his brother's life force. So that's why he was freaking out when he killed Yuji. He was like freaking out. He was tweaking. So yeah. As anyways, this is when, you know, Mahito would be like, huh? You think it's that Yuji kid? Huh, my natural enemy? I'm still a little scared of him. Say, Kenjaku, would you have Jogo assist me in getting rid of that boy? Or at least get it so we can incarnate Sukuna even faster. As Kenjaku would say, yes, Mahito. I guess I'll be working on something like that. As anyways, he says this, you know, we just have time, you know? A time to where Megumi, Yuji, and Nobara would make it back as Kira, or Anita Kira, Akari Anita, Akari Anita would then get them and drive them off back to Jujutsu High. As a couple of weeks would go by. Now, Yuji would have been training his haki and everything like that, along with his observation haki. As he's been training, guess who he's been training with? Gojo himself. Now, Gojo's been training Yuji in ways on how to, like, you know, fight better, or just like use his curse technique better, use his curse energy better. And Yuji is actually now able to go like on a spar with, you know, Gojo. And I mean, of course, it's only when Gojo turns off his infinity is when, you know, they could actually fight. And yeah, I just found out, yes, in the actual anime, Yuji is way more physically stronger than Gojo. So in this timeline, he's gonna be even, I mean, damn it, not Jogo, but Gojo, sorry. So he's in raw strength, Yuji is just stronger than Gojo. Gojo the GOAT, 6 eyes guy. And in this what if, he's gonna be even stronger than Gojo. So yeah, his strength is comparable to like just being able to punch buildings and they would just fall. Not really though, because, you know, Yuji would never do something like that. But yeah, as anyways, you know, Gojo has said that, you know, if it wasn't for his cursed energy, he probably would have lost to Yuji. And like, you know, anyways, after this, Yuji is now almost a master of just reinforcing himself, as he would be taught something called RCT, or told about it. He would only be told about it, but he can learn it even faster due to observation haki. You see, observation haki, it's just something better. Like, it's just to observe your, you know, surroundings, and it also makes your eyesight a little way more better. Just like how Usopp, you know, Usopp is able to see farther. That's literally just Yuji. So yeah, Yuji has this along with future sight. He's able to see a little bit more into the future and guess attacks, you know, get rid of attacks faster and easier. Now, mind you this, Megumi had to deal with the finger bearer during the arc of the Yasuichi Bridge when they were fighting Aso and Keijutsu, but I did not cover that fight because, you know, that was the fight that, you know, he used his domain expansion. So yeah, but he did give the one of Sukuna's fingers to Yuji, and Yuji, unknowingly, Sukuna made a mouth from his hand and ate the finger. So yeah. Anyways, let's just get on to a time to where, you know, Gojo would have gotten a call saying that there's like veils that were placed in Shibuya, and that they need to start going there because they're asking for Satoru Gojo. So all of Jujutsu High, along with almost the Kyoto sister school, actually no, they weren't sent there. They went there for no reason and got whooped in the process, which is just stupid. So yeah. But anyways, they go there and everything like that. Oh, I didn't cover the Mekamaru fight. It's not needed. Yeah, it's definitely not needed. Anyways, they go to Shibuya. Now, what? It's like 7 o'clock in Shibuya at the moment. So 7:37, I think. 2018 Halloween night, 7:37. Now, you know, people notice this veil, or some people, because some people, they don't learn it. But you can only see cursed energy if you're endangered, or if you're a sorcerer, or if you're just built like that, like Toji. It's crazy. It kind of makes me a little bit like weirded out, because like, how was Toji able to see curses, or was he just using his instinct? But anyways, let's just get on. So let's start the Shibuya incident. Start the Shibuya incident now. Okay, so we start out this when Gojo is just floating over a whole bunch of people as he's in the middle of Shibuya, or at least in the train station. So you have a time to where Hanami, Maki, and the old man, along with Megumi, would be, you know, looking at this curse being daggone. As we go on back to Gojo. Now, Gojo is, well, you know, just floating. As this is when a cart would show up. As this would be Mahito. As a whole bunch of transfigured humans would show up. causing a whole bunch of chaos, as this would cause Gojo to use his 0.2 second domain and then kill over 1 million. I mean, no, whoa, not 1 million. 1,000 humans in Shibuya Station. Now, as the domain wears off, he would then, get surprised by the face of his dead friend who has been taken over by Kenjaku. Now, as this happens, Gojo would be sealed, as we have a time to where Yuji, Mei, and his Mei's brother, Ui or something, would be there as they start walking down Shibuya steps. This is when, Mei tells him if he wants to go and fight a strong curse, or if he wants to go and fight a weak curse, something that's closer to his strength. As Yuji would say, I guess I'll go up against the weak one since I know you're capable. As Mei would say, all right, go ahead. Now, as he goes to fight the Locust Curse. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the Locust Curse makes no sense. But anyways, Yuji's instantly gonna blitz past him. Okay, there's no stopping a souped up haki Yuji. As Yuji punches this curse with haki. They go blow for blow, how they do it in the original where they both hit each other's fist. Well, Locust Guy's fist is going to be broken along with his arms after that. That's when Yuji would kick him or do a manji kick, right? And then straight up drop kick or do a flying kick and then hit a black flash. Now, of course, Yuji's innate ability to just be able to hit a black flash is kind of crazy. I'll just say observation haki, more observant, more capable on how to do, his black flashes way better. So yeah. Now, as this happens, I'm confused about the rest of the course, but I'm pretty sure after this, he meets with his brother, which he doesn't know is his brother at the time, and it's Choso. Now, Choso being the only, actual human-looking one, he didn't have a face on his back, nothing like that. He just had those markings on his face. Yuji jumps from, the top stairs and is, falling. As he sees Choso sees him, and immediately it's on sight. Alright, he activates his blood manipulation and then is getting ready to send a blood-piercing wave. Now, as this happens, it would get sent as Yuji would duck. As he would, rush in at, Choso. Choso would then start fighting with Yuji. As Yuji would hit him with a haki-infused punch, Choso would be sent back as, he's heavily damaged at this point. But, let's say due to plot, no, I know what to do. Yuji would beat Choso after getting him cornered in the bathroom and breaking all the sprinklers so he can't use his blood manipulation because water would disrupt the blood that's floating around. He would inevitably beat his brother Choso. Now, after this, this is when we have a time to where Jogo would show up. Now, of course, Choso isn't knocked out, but he's just beat on the ground. As Choso and Jogo would start, my bad, Yuji and Jogo would start fighting. As, I'm sorry, but Yuji's losing this. Now, of course, in this battle, Yuji would have been seen to be killed. As Choso's seeing this, he's still there. He sees this. He's like, there's no way that's my brother. There's no way. He just found his brother, and then his brother just died there. As he would get up, mad. But this is when Jogo would grab onto the dead body of Yuji and take him somewhere else. So yeah, those two girls, the one with the phone technique for some reason, they will get to Yuji, and they will give him one of Sukuna's fingers so he can reincarnate as Sukuna. Not reincarnate, but they're gonna be doing that, asking him a favor to kill, I think Kenjaku. But as you guys know, Sukuna can't kill Kenjaku because they made a binding vow saying, oh, if you reincarnate me, and let's say in the era where curses are gonna come back, then yeah, he won't kill him. So yeah. But anyways, after this, Jogo gets to feeding Yuji as he gets 10 fingers out and just starts feeding them to Yuji. Now as this is happening, one of those girls would show up and actually one of them would distract Jogo. Is it's the girl with the phone. She revives herself, and this is the other one would give the finger to Yuji. Now as this happens, this is when Jogo would say, "You two, get the hell out of here," as he points his arm at one of them. Now as he points his arms at one of them, he then notices his arm ain't there, as he would then look at Yuji's dead body, but it's not so dead anymore, as Sukuna would have awakened. Now as Sukuna awakened, Sukuna would then say, "Get your filthy hands off of my face." Now of course Jogo would be taken off guard by this. He's scared as he backs up close to where those other two are at, as this is when she would then say, "Sukuna, I gave you one finger. That means you should do me a favor. I need you to kill Kenjaku." But before she could say anything, cleave, as the top of her head, gone. As Sukuna would say, "Don't disrespect me. One finger is not enough to get a favor from me." As we have a 15-finger Sukuna, so that's how strong he is. We need 5 more to complete the set. That's how strong Sukuna is at the moment. Now, as this happens, Sukuna would then look at the other girl as she says, "Damn you, Sukuna, die!" But before she could do that, instantly disappears in a gaze of blood as he used dismantle on her. Now, this is when Jogo would then say, as Sukuna would be like, "So, what the heck do you want, curse?" As Jogo would say, I don't want anything. Just having you reincarnate into the real world is enough for me." As Sukuna would just laugh, saying, "Alright, I'll do you a favor. I'll kill every single human in Shibuya. If you can get one hit on me, I'll work for you. But in that case, I'm killing every single human in Shibuya, with the exception of one." As this is when Sukuna would just look down and then try and use that power that Yuji did, as he would do so. Now he could only use haki inside of Yuji's body. So yes, that's the only way he's gonna be able to do this. If he's in Megumi's body, then he can't use haki. But as he does this, he says, "This boy is fascinating. I'll be sure to use this strength, and I might even take over fully." As this is when we have the same fight as in canon, as Jogo would just be bullied, getting kicked through buildings, getting cut and slashed, his limbs were being cut off. He can't do nothing. He can summon as much meteors as he wants. He's not beating Sukuna. As we have a final clash where Sukuna says, "Arm yourself." As he does so, we have that time where Sukuna says, "So, you're a curse that wants to be in the place of a human. How pathetic." As if you guys didn't know what Jogo's dream was to coexist with humans. He wanted to live amongst them. As anyways, after this, we just have a time to where Sukuna would then say, "Stand proud, Jogo. You are strong." As anyways, we just have a time to where we move on to the Maharaga fight and everything like that. As this happens, we have a time to where, Maharaga gets completely cooked. As, if you guys probably wondering, how would that fight go on since, Sukuna is able to use Yuji's haki? It goes relatively the same. As we now go on to the important parts, this is where Yuji actually takes back control. As Yuji sees all the damage, he would say to die, "It should have been me." He's sad. He's sad for all the deaths that have happened in Shibuya, and it's his fault because he's the vessel, as he thinks of it. But anyways, we just go on to a time to where Yuji says that he has to keep going in order to kill that curse in order to get rid of curses, he has to keep going. As he makes it down to the subway, he starts fighting with Mahito. Well, actually not yet, hold on. So, we have a time to where Yuji and Mahito would meet. Or, no, not yet. You see, Yuji is walking down Shibuya, or running. As he makes it down to the floor where Hanami is at, he sees Hanami, as Hanami will look at him saying, "I'll leave everything to you, Yuji Itadori." As Hanami would have exploded. Now, of course, Yuji, being absolutely traumatized, would yell, "What the hell are you, Mahito?" As Mahito would say, "No need to scream, Yuji. I'm right here." As this would just cause Yuji to be enraged. Yuji's Conqueror's haki would have turned on at that moment. It would have been active, as everyone in Shibuya would feel this. Sorcerers and non-sorcerers. As this is happening, even Gojo can feel the Conqueror's haki inside the prison realm. As the skeletons would start to shake again, because, the prison realm is just like a box of skeletons, and he just trapped in there. As this happens, Gojo would be like, "Is that Yuji? It seems I don't gotta worry about anything. I guess all I gotta do is just calm down and lay back." As he knows, he's confident Yuji, his strongest student, and possibly the strongest sorcerer in Shibuya at the moment, because Jogo is gone, Gojo is sealed, Yuji is technically the strongest sorcerer. And, Choso being there, but yeah. By the way, Choso, knowing that Yuji is his brother, is now going to help him. He's going to help him now at this moment. As Mahito and Yuji would start to fight. Yuji would, start fighting with Mahito. Mahito would send a couple of humans at him, as Yuji would instantly just burst them. He just instantly kills them. Now, by the way, they're transfigured, so there's no coming back. Like, he can't save them, so he knows any human that gets transfigured is not going to be saved. So, as this is going on, this is when Mahito would have been stunned, as Yuji gets him on a pillar and just starts punching him relentlessly with hits, as his black flash, his haki that just completely decimates Mahito would start injuring him more and more. As this is when Mahito would burst into 5 little Mahitos as they run around. So when Yuji finds the real one and starts chasing after him. But he then sees Nobara. As this is when Mahito or Yuji would scream, "Nobara, get out of there!" As this is when Mahito would touch the side of her face. Now, if you guys don't know what Mahito's technique is, if he touches you, you're technically dead. But also, he can heal you, but no. This Mahito, he's evil, so he kills people. And, obviously, in any other type of what if, yeah, it's gonna be like that, most likely. As anyways, Nobara, half of her, face, boom, just explodes. As this happens, Yuji would be down in the slums, bro. He would be so sad. He's thinking there's no reason to fight anymore. Because at this point, it's not really much to do. As when Mahito's about to hit him with the black flash, Choso would show up. As Choso, being the big brother, would straight up hit Mahito, as Mahito gets sent flying back, crashing into the wall. As of course, Yuji already did that to the other one. Now, as this happens, Todo would then show up, his other brother, or self-proclaimed brother. As Todo would say, "So, Yuji, who's this?" As Yuji would say, "No clue, but this is the guy that I beat." As Choso would say, "Look, Yuji, I know you probably don't like me right now, but I'm saying this, I'm your big brother." As, Yuji hearing this would be like, "What?" As anyways, this is when we gonna get onto a time where Mahito was getting jumped, okay? I'm sorry, Mahito, yes, being the strongest in Shibuya at the moment, cannot go up against a Yuji that already beat him in the main timeline without haki, along with Todo being there. So Todo is not gonna lose his boogie woogie, along with Choso being there too. And, that's the thing. Choso made the realization like, yo, Kenjaku, kind of did bad. So, yeah. But anyways, this is when we have a time to where Mahito would have been getting jumped, They would be doing team combos. Choso would be using his blood manipulation, his plasma waves. Todo would be clapping, using his boogie woogie to swap positions and everything like that. As, Mahito would be forced into a 0.2 second domain. As this happens, Choso would have been, well, actually, no. Choso is half cursed, half human. So Choso has a better defense, and he also knows simple domain. So as he uses this, Yuji would just start running at Mahito. As Yuji runs at Mahito, Mahito would get punched. Now, as this happens, Mahito would hit a black flash. As Mahito hits this black flash, this is when Yuji would then do the same, trading in hit for hit, hitting one more black flash. Todo and Choso kind of feel left behind, as Todo would then hit a black flash as well, doing that same thing as in canon, saying, are you really gonna let your brother surpass you and not be right by his side and able to fight along with him? As this is when, Choso, he does not know, I feel like, are curses allowed? No, yes they are, because Mahito hit a black flash. Okay. I won't say Choso hits a black flash, but I'll say Choso uses something where, like, his arrows turn more, like, his arrows on his face turn pointy or, like, sharp. And so he used that, so he's, like, more stronger now. As anyways, this is when Mahito would start to, beat down on everyone except for Yuji. Yuji's, like, making sure he can't get hit. As they're playing keep away, they don't want to get touched by Mahito. And, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that idol transfiguration is insanely overpowered just because, Mahito one touch and it's over, technically. So, yeah. Unless you're Satoru Gojo, of course. Satoru Gojo. What I mean by that is I think if Mahito touches Gojo, it doesn't go to his soul, but his mindscape, where he just gets into infinite void. Like, literally. That's the one thing I'm thinking, like, oh, if you touch Gojo as Mahito and you see his soul, it's literally just infinite void, and you get stuck in there. So yeah, as anyways, this is when they are now at the surface. As, Yuji, or, my bad, not Yuji, but Gojo. No, not Gojo, damn it. Mahito would hit one more black flash as he then starts to transform into his self-embodiment of killing. Now, he would then say these words: after I kill you, I will finally be born. As, of course, this would just have, all of them on edge because, they was jumping this man and this guy was still holding off. He was still keep on going with them. So what's crazy is he kept up with them, and now he seems to be at a higher level. As Yuji says, well, Todo, if I hit one more black flash, I might be able to. As Todo would then say, all right, I know what we're gonna do then. As Choso would be on the sidelines along with Todo. This is when, Mahito would be, everywhere. He would be going from here to here. He would be doing like that widespread attack where he's everywhere and like appearing with speed, going everywhere. As this is when Yuji would then turn as he sees Mahito. Mahito's about to get hit. This is when, Mahito would then see Todo. As Todo would clap, when Todo claps, Mahito would then go and put his attack to the other side, but he missed. Yuji wasn't there. The swap didn't happen. As Yuji would have a big smile on his face. Conqueror's haki flying everywhere. As his haki, his armament haki, covered in his fists, he would then coat it with his Conqueror's haki. As sparks of black would begin to appear, this is when Yuji hits Mahito with the black flash finisher. As this happens, Mahito would get set flying as he tumbles to the ground. As now he looks like the pathetic curse that he is. Now he looks like that. As Yuji would start walking him down. as this like snow would start falling, you know, Mahito became schizophrenic at that moment. He started seeing things that weren't there. He started seeing snow falling. He started seeing a rabbit running from a wolf, and in that case, Yuji was the wolf and Mahito was the rabbit because he's getting walked down right now. As after that, Yuji's about to kill Mahito, but Kenjaku would show up. The man who made all of this happen would show up. Now, you guys are probably like, yo, hold on. Choso could have done way more against Mahito. But, you know, Mahito, obviously knowing most of Choso's attacks, kind of, because, like, after they all, you know, fight and everything like that, they need to understand each other's attacks and everything like that. He understood most of Choso's attacks. But, anyways, after that, Mahito would be transfigured, or not transfigured, but Mahito would be eaten by Kenjaku, as Kenjaku used the curse technique Uzumaki to be able to consume curses and manipulate them. Now, as this happens, what is it, Yuki that shows up? I'm not sure, but we still have Todo there, and yeah. Okay, so I'm not really sure who was there, but I know Yuji was there, I know Choso was there, and yeah, that's probably all I know. Urahime was there, you know, Urame was there, and Todo wasn't there. But I know there was someone else. Like, I think it was the Kyoto students from the sister exchange event, and maybe Yuki, but Choso was doing the heavy work. But this is when Yuji would rush in at, you know, Kenjaku, but Urame would send her ice at him. Now, as this happens, Yuji would just straight up punch this ice as all of it would shatter. Yuji puts his you know, attention onto Urame, or Urahime. Or no, it's Urame. As Urame would just be, like, getting blitzed by Yuji. You know, Urame is no competition towards Yuji at this point. As Urame would then get straight up kicked, Yuji would then put his focus back on Kenjaku, as Choso and Kenjaku would start to fight along with Yuji. Kenjaku would have the upper hand. Now, I'm saying this because, of course, Kenjaku is well capable enough to hold off two people at the same time with his curses. So, yeah. As anyways, Choso would actually tell Yuji to be careful because he has the abilities of Mahito, that being transfiguration. As anyways, this is when just have a time to where, you know, the fights would end. Choso not being killed this time. Kenjaku would have got away with Urame, as we have a time to where we end off part 3. I really hope you guys enjoyed this, man. I've tried 3 times to make this, but I just like, yeah, I don't want to do this. But yeah, I don't like the way I did that before, like the what ifs before, so I'm like, okay, let me redo it, and I'm like, I don't like this one, but this one I like. This one that I just made, I like. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and yeah, peace.